Hello, friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of In the Toy Box. Today it's about video games, Mario Brothers, Sonic the Hedgehog, the Burger Time Chef. It's all here, so stick around.
Welcome to another episode of In the Toy Box. I'm Matt.
I'm Kevin.
Today we are featuring home video game systems.
Awesome.
Intellivision was released by Mattel in 1979, and it was popular for about 10 years.
Wow.
It featured two controllers. Each one had a 16-directional pad with 15 buttons. They also came with insert overlay covers, and what these covers were, they came with each game. You put them over the control pad to indicate what buttons to press.
So you would only use certain buttons for certain games?
Right.
It
was almost like a directional guide to the game.
Very cool.
The game that came with Intellivision was Las Vegas Poker and Blackjack. Some of my favorite games included Frog Bog, which you were a frog leaping from one lily pad to another, attempting to get as many flies as you could.
Not Frogger, probably better.
Yeah, and you could play against the computer, or you could play, against an opponent.
Right.
Another one of my favorite games was Burger Time, and you were Peter the chef trying to make a burger and being chased by pickles and hot dogs.
I remember that game. Wicked fun.
Very good
fun
game. And the last game I really, really liked from Intellivision was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. It was basically about a 3-man expedition in the legendary Cloudy Mountains, I think it was called.
Sounds right, yeah.
And what you were doing, you were searching for two halves of an ancient crown in the hidden caverns of those mountains. The opening screen was actually a map, and you chose what caverns to go into to attempt to find these treasures. At the end, ultimately, you went and you faced a winged dragon in order to complete the game.
Sure.
But it took a long time. If you played this game, it probably could take you about an hour to play from start to finish.
That's not too bad, I guess.
Yeah, but it
sounds
was
like fun.
Very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Another thing that other games that they had a wide variety of sports and television. They had the typical arcade games. They had Frogger. They had Pitfall. They had Donkey Kong, which was very popular.
Mm-hmm.
And then Intellivision also had an attachment called IntelliVoice. This was a speech synthesizer which came with compatible games, such as B-17 Bomber, Bomb Squad, Space Spartans, and Tron Solar Sailor. Most of the games at that time were played with sounds and music, but this one featured a voice throughout the entire game, which was pretty cool.
Because they were already reveled for their sound system in general anyways. Their sounds were supposed to be nicer than Atari's to begin with, and now they bonused up with that IntelliVoice. That's pretty neat.
Right, they added to it. Like in Bomb Squad, for instance, you had the feature of the voice that would kind of tell you, like, you're on the right track, or check this, and it would be almost like a guide.
That's cool.
So it was a nice feature. For me, the Intellivision was the first home video game system that I was introduced to. And as a child, I really enjoyed challenging my brother to the sports and playing the poker and blackjack with my dad. It was a really good toy. I really loved Intellivision.
That's awesome. I did get to play it when I was young. It was really fun. And it was super popular because they actually sold out of the original production run of all the Intellivisions they made. So it must have been a really awesome system. Home video games early days looked a lot like this. Just two sticks in a square bouncing around. Things changed a lot. Let's take the journey.
Sega Genesis was released in Japan in 1988 as Mega Drive, and then later in the United States as Sega Genesis in 1989.
Sega!
It was popular for approximately 8 years. It kind of ran its run about 1997. Some of the features, did you want to talk about the console at all?
6-button controller that was considered the best controller. Even in today's standards, people still go to that controller and say that that's the best controller ever made. So it was a revolutionary controller. The graphics, of course, even for 16-bit, they were pretty 3D looking. And
a lot nicer than the older games.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The console itself was just very nice. And some of the games actually saved. That was another feature that was new to gaming.
The game saving thing, that was only per game, right? It wasn't the actual component.
No, it was actually the game itself would save. They had a little battery in the game, and that would save. Only certain games had it, but that's how it worked.
Yeah, with Joe Montana's football, what the game saving feature did was it would record all your wins and losses for the team that you chose as your own. And Sega Genesis originally came with, Altered Beast. And later on, it came with Sonic because at the time, Mario Brothers was pretty popular with Nintendo. So to compete with the Mario Brothers Nintendo, Genesis came out with Sonic the Hedgehog.
It's more kid-friendly.
They wanted a more likable character in terms
nice.
of, instead of Altered Beast.
I remember it coming with Sonic.
Yeah.
And I think it only came with one controller as well. I'm
It
not
did,
sure.
which was a drawback because it was okay if it was just one person, but if him and I wanted to play a game head-to-head, now we had to go out and get another controller, which kind of...
I bought my own system, and I'd be coming over with my controller to play yours.
But yeah, it was a very good game system. Some good games. They had the Batman 1989 movie game where you could drive the Michael Keaton Batmobile, which I thought was pretty cool. Then the hockey game was also one of my favorites. It was very realistic. It had some very, very challenging features. And you even broke out in real fights. You could actually
that's so cool.
fight the other hockey players.
That is cool.
But yeah, it was a pretty good game. I think it's good. The graphics were good. As you said, the progressive features were excellent.
Yeah.
And the last thing I wanted to say about Sega Genesis 2, how things change over time, was it had a top-loading feature with the cartridge as opposed to Intellivision, where you took the cartridge and went in the side. I think it was actually better.
Yeah.
I think when the side load, for some reason, it wiggled a little bit, and sometimes you'd lose the game when you're playing it, and that stunk.
Yeah.
So at least with the top loading, I think it was more secure.
Yes.
So that was a much better feature.
I agree. I know the Sega for playing Mortal Kombat. A lot of people may not know that's how the video game rating system came out, because the video game, for lack of a better term, was pretty violent. It showed blood and gore and that sort of thing.
The Nintendo Entertainment System revolutionized and revitalized the video game industry as it introduced a new standard of gaming. This 8-bit console, released in 1985, was sold in various bundles and included such items as the Power Pad, a foot-powered 2-person control mat paired with world-class track meet, or the Zapper, a light-emitting blaster paired up with the Duck Hunt. All bundles included 2 plug-and-play controllers and a control deck with a stylish red, black, and gray color scheme. The control deck featured a VCR-like game loading mechanism, which could eventually wear out connecting pins. Perhaps its only flaw, but not enough to dissuade its growing fan base. The games numbered in the hundreds, with such titles as Monopoly, Paperboy, Super Mario Brothers, and so many others, that all bring us countless hours of challenging playtime fun. There is no doubt the Nintendo Entertainment System left a legacy of video gaming gold that remains as influential to video game builders and designers, as well as the video game players like you and I.
In the Toy Box hit the road again, and this time we visited a good friend, a great plumber, and an even better father. Meet George Faria, Voltron collector extraordinaire. Destination Hobbies.
Are we there yet?
Welcome to Destination Hobbies. I'm here with George Faria, a local collector of everything Voltron. So George, why don't you tell me a little bit about how you started collecting this stuff?
Voltron is just something I've always loved because it was probably the first cartoon I can remember as a kid. You know, really shot me into the sci-fi world.
Okay.
So show came out right about 82, 81, and you know, it was just
fell in love with it?
Yeah, first show I probably saw as a kid. Well, Voltron itself is about these 5 lions who mechanically come together and join one, so there was all an assortment of toys.
Yep. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your favorite Voltron product you have here?
All right, this is a 30th anniversary collector's set of Voltron, obviously.
From Toynami, right?
From Toynami, yep. It comes with a lot of cool accessories.
Yes.
Like this stand.
Yep.
And all his other accessories that go with him.
Yep, stuff that he would hold and fight the bad guys with.
Yes, exactly. So I'm actually going to kind of take him out of the box for you guys and show you how he goes together.
Let's do it.
Kind of goes against the rules of some of us toy hobbyists. But for you guys, I'll break the rules.
All right. I'm excited to see this thing together.
Yes, this is pretty awesome.
I think it flips the other way around. Oh, no, you got it. Perfect.
And then,
All right.
And then you give him the key.
Go for it. Pretty awesome.
So yeah, it is pretty awesome, pretty cool. Definitely like it.
Definitely covered a piece. I'm glad you were able to take it out and show us.
Yeah.
I'm sure it feels nice to actually look at it and hold
Play
it
with
every
it,
now
yes,
and then.
exactly. I really like the stuff that has the age to it. The original early 80s stuff is what I like. So I have some of those in here.
Okay.
The most prized out of all of them in the cabinet because it's all original. You can hold it. It's metal. You can feel the weight.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you know, it just screams 1980s. You know.
Right.
And it's still pretty cool. It has these original functions. You know, shoots everything out of it.
Yep.
Just awesome. You know, so pretty cool. Like I said, this is early 80s, and now I'll show you one that they remade. So this was a remake in the 90s, and you can feel this one, and you can feel the difference. How this one is
it's very light.
It's all plastic. Remade, still really nice.
Yeah.
All the lines still come apart and separate. Like they do on the other 30th one.
It's very detailed, but like you said,
Yeah.
it's lighter, and it seems like it's not cheap, but it's, you know, the other
Just
one's
not the
pretty
same.
cool.
Yeah. So the one feature I really love about this one is it actually has all the guys inside.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's got one there, and it's got one on his chest, which is really awesome. You know. I am missing, I believe, the green guy here, and then they're even in the feet. Oh, down in the feet. It's like their little pilot stage.
out?
Yeah, it comes right out. Yeah, yeah, it's really cool. It stinks. I'm only missing one, but you know, I guess I have 4 out of 5 ain't bad. This is actually something that my uncle had at my grandmother's house for years and years and years, and probably just something they had picked up at the local Ames or something, who knows where, and it was kind of just like a sticker catalog or a sticker comic, and you would buy packs of cards, and you would fill in the storyline as it went along. You know, I thought that was just really cool. I mean, if I go somewhere and I see something, I just always made a rule to myself I have to buy it if it's Voltron.
Thank you for joining us on Destination Hobbies today.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Tracy to kids. Tracy to kids. Come in, kids. Come in, kids. It's here at last, the new Dick Tracy two-way wrist radio that keeps you in constant touch with your buddies. Easy to work. Up antenna, switch on, press talk button, and you broadcast from room to room and even house to house. No wires needed, yet voices travel back and forth. Radio on the open road from one bike to another, or when out hiking.
Dad, I found a bear's cave.
Be right down, son.
The powerful, fully transistorized Dick Tracy two-way wrist radio is a real electronic instrument.
Super Nintendo. Who doesn't love Nintendo in general? We all love Mario, Yoshi, Wario even. And when Super Nintendo came out in 1991, it was late to the game of the 16-bit consoles. It was 2 years after Sega Genesis had already come out, but that didn't stop it from rising to the top of the charts. It was as soon as it came out, it flew off the shelves, and it became the most popular gaming system to that date.
Yeah. I wonder why.
Why? Because every new game system, it just becomes better, right?
Yeah,
Don't you
it's
think?
True. Yeah.
So-
Technology gets better as it goes along.
Exactly. So it had better graphics, better sound. It had similar features with the top-loading cartridges. It also featured an eject button, which was a new feature. You press the button, you could pull your cartridge out. And every game in this system had the little battery pack inside of it. So inside each cartridge, there's a little battery, and you could save your game, which is a nice feature. Same thing. It's as some of the earlier consoles like Sega. It only came with one controller when you first got it, so you'd have to spend a little extra cash to get that extra controller.
That bugs me.
It
really
does.
does.
It is a
Sorry.
bummer, and but it was worth it. This was an awesome game system. You'd slide on you wouldn't push a button. You would slide the power button on, and it was a lot easier than the original Nintendo, where you would slide your cartridge in, push down, and then press the power button.
Right.
That was kind of an annoyance to have
Yeah.
with the original Nintendo. So this was a huge step up, and this lasted. I played this well into the 2000s. Okay, everyone was playing PlayStation, stuff like that. I was playing Super Nintendo.
Wow.
And it lasted a long time for me, so I loved that system.
What were you playing?
I played a lot of games, but mostly Super Mario World. I played it over and over again. I had a game called Cliffhanger, which was like the Sylvester Stallone movie.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to play it at all. I would just try to play it over and over, but
You just watched it.
yeah, I had a bunch of games. I can't remember. My dad would take me to the video game store. They had sold used video games, and I would sometimes trade ones in and pick new stuff out. But Super Mario in heavy rotation, always.
Well, good.
Yeah.
So you like this one better than Sega Genesis?
I think they both have their pros and cons, but I mean, I spent more time with the Super Nintendo for sure, so it's more nostalgic for me. I definitely like it a little more.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, that's like me too. I mean, I know video games have come a long way, especially even today. They're so different. I mean, the graphics are incredible. But I guess we all have our personal favorites. I mean, I have personal games I like on each system.
Sure.
And but I guess for me growing up, I kind of lean towards the Intellivision, even though it's very antiquated.
There's something fun about that, something neat about it being a little older. It's a little more simple.
It's pretty cool.
You know, as the games progress, they get a little more tough too.
Yeah,
you know.
that's true.
Online gamers rejoice. The Xbox 360, released in 2005, was the successor of the original Xbox and helped popularize online gaming. The console itself can be played horizontally like a traditional game deck, or vertically in the tower position, allowing for space-saving options. Microsoft, the creator of the Xbox, allowed for a removable hard drive along with memory card slots for maximum game saving and storage options. The controllers feature a rechargeable battery and a removable charging cord for wire-free fun. The games are loaded into the disk drive that can double as a DVD or CD player. Once loaded, you can enjoy countless hours of high-definition graphics, immersive gameplay, and the option to join Xbox Live, a platform that allows for other online gamers from across the globe to connect and play alongside yourself and whomever else may be playing the game of your choice at that time. Xbox continues to further the advancement of gaming with new releases of consoles, games, and downloadable content. Welcome to the Current Toy Review, and today we're talking about the quarter-scale replica arcade cabinet Pac Man. It's a really sweet-looking display piece, and it's also a video game. It's pretty amazing. The cabinet itself has all the accoutrement of a real cabinet. It's got the little joystick. You've got a little place to put your tiny quarters, which I don't have any, but also the coin reject button. It's got the start buttons for up to two players. It's a really sweet piece. And Matt, what do you like about this?
What I like about it is that it feels just like the real arcade game, right down to the joystick. The joystick obviously is not the same size as the real arcade game, but as you're maneuvering the joystick, it feels just like the original game.
Right.
The coin part, you don't put a coin in it, but you press a button and you actually hear the sound of the coin going in there. I think that's really cool.
It is.
It has a volume control feature. The game itself is an exact replicant of Pac Man, so it's pretty exact, and it's great. It's a great home video game system.
Now, can we press a couple buttons on there and hear it?
I believe we can. Let me see.
Oh, nice.
That's the coin, the start button. And that's how it sounds.
Classic.
So, you know, it's pretty much just like the original thing. But it's a cool game.
Very awesome.
So,
now, on a rating system?
On a rating system, I would rate it 5 toy boxes out of 5 toy boxes.
Nice.
Because I can't find anything wrong with it.
Right.
I think it's a great toy. It's the only thing it's missing is more. You know, if they had Space Invaders as well or something else.
Sure. So
great.
So this one as a standalone product, amazing.
I think it's great.
You just would like to see more of them.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Give me more.
Well, if I had to rate it, I'll be right there with you. 5 toy boxes out of 5. When I first saw this and I got to play it, I was like, this thing is so cool. It's just, like you said, the little joystick. It's got the up, down, left, right, like little crevice in it, so it's just like playing the real Pac Man but on a tiny version, and to be able to display it and it's just so neat.
Although the actual gameplay for Intellivision did not look like this, the artwork style was similar to comic books. As seen here, all Intellivision game boxes may be opened, as if opening a book, to reveal the actual game cartridge. The graphics of Sega Genesis games were far better, and the game covers were very impressive. Some of them seem to resemble actual movies in television. The Wii game system covers were more playful. Some had a cartoon appearance. Each cover seemed to convey a sense of fun and desire to play the game.
At home, work, or on the go, handheld games allow you to take a fun, playable pastime virtually anywhere. The Nintendo Game Boy, released in 1989, paved the way for all ensuing compact consoles. It included a black and gray screen, a 4-way directional pad, 2 control buttons along with select and start, and a small, volume-controlled speaker. The Game Boy Color featured a slimmed-down body along with a full spectrum of color games. It also adds a little color to the original Game Boy games. The Nintendo DS adds a second color screen that features backlighting, allowing for it to be played in the dark. This foldable next-generation handheld also shrunk down the size of their game cartridges. The Sony PlayStation has released their fair share of contenders in the small-scale systems arena, like the PS Vita, featuring a large back and front touchscreen with dual joystick controls, and minuscule game cards that feature amazing graphics and sound. As of recent, Nintendo burst on the screen with a multiplayer handheld hybrid. It allows you to play alone or pop out its integrated stand and controllers and play anywhere with a friend. Once you return back home, simply place on the docking system to recharge and play on your in-home television. With so many recent advancements in portable playtime, it's possible to have fun anywhere.